How much would you spend on a gaming/streaming microphone? With push to mute, controllable RGB, included metal grill pop filter, volume control, and USB Type-C connection. What if I told you can get all of this for under $50 on Amazon? This is the Ampligame A8 by Fifine. To make this review, and all thoughts and opinions are 100% my own. Alright, right out of the box you get a fully plastic chassis, which I did find to be of high quality and I didn't necessarily see any issues there. There's also a knob on the back of the stand to where you can adjust the tilt. Below the microphone there is a fully rubberized base for isolation. On the top of the microphone there is the touch to mute option, and from there is no button, which I did find to be a nice touch. Right behind the microphone, there's going to be the RGB control where you can have 3 different modes as well as color selection for one of the modes. And just like the touch to mute, it is similar in terms of the sensor where you just simply touch it. There's no button required. Right below that, you're going to have the gain/volume control. This is where you're going to control the volume of the microphone. Unfortunately, I don't necessarily like the placement. I would like to have something like this in the front of the microphone. Putting that to the side, we have the mic stand adapter. This is when you want to upgrade your microphone to a stand, and personally, I think this is one of the few things you should do when upgrading. The next thing you're going to have is a full metal pop filter. This is actually very surprising considering that not a lot of microphones come with a metal pop filter, let alone a pop filter to begin with. So it was very nice of them to include this. One thing I did forget to mention that it is also adjustable as well. So you're able to control where you want that pop filter to be, and you're able to control where you want your mic to be oriented. Oops. And considering that you can't necessarily take out the microphone from the shock mount, it is built in. However, the ability to kind of change out and upgrade the stand to a different stand, I did find to be a nice touch. So upon first impressions, this is a great start. Now we're going to talk about the I/O. On the bottom of the microphone, you're going to have the 3.5mm jack. That is where you're going to go ahead and monitor how you sound, and as well as it can act as a pass-through device. So if you're someone who likes to have everything kind of close by, you can actually have audio run through this mic. So if you're running short earbuds or short IEMs or headphones, this is actually a great way to connect without the need of a cable or audio jack extension. I forgot to mention that it also comes with a Type-C cable, and this Type-C cable is going to be 6.5 feet, which honestly, in my opinion, plenty long enough and more than adequate for most people. Now let's talk about the specs and the sound of the microphone. The Ampligame A8 is a condenser microphone. They're kind of labeling it as a neutral sounding microphone, which I did find to be fairly true, with a bit of a bass boost. One thing I did have gripes about was the mids. The mids, in my opinion, were very kind of pushed to your face, a little bit nasally in some cases, and unfortunately for someone like me who comes out very nasally sometimes, it wasn't necessarily a great pairing. However, just lowering the mids, giving it a little bit more to the treble, kind of remedied this situation. So one of the first things I did once I received this microphone was actually purchase another one of their products, which was going to be their low profile stand. It is very easy to set up. I just simply took it out of the box, put the base on the bottom of the table, screw it in, put the stand on top, and I was good to go. Using the adapter, I was able to go ahead and put this together, and sure enough, I have no issues, and I think this pairs perfectly with this microphone. It does have cable management built in at the bottom, so you're able to pass USB cables through. Unfortunately, XLR cables don't fit under here, and I tried my best different ways to kind of remove the bottom of the cable management in the stand, but it did not budge. So for this stand, it's still at a great price, but you would have to use only USB. That is the only downside, and a quite unfortunate thing to have. Now that we've gone over all the mumbo jumbo and all the great details and features this mic comes with, how does this all sound? Right now I do have the mic a bit equalized, like I said, with the lows, mids, and highs slightly adjusted, but I'll go ahead and give you an unfiltered version of this mic, and you guys will be the ones to judge. This is how the microphone sounds from 3 inches away. I currently just have my PC on, Everything else is currently off, including my fan. I am approximately 6 inches away from the microphone. This is how my voice sounds with no filters on. I am now approximately 1 foot away from the microphone. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Now I will be testing the pop filter. Peter Piper picked a pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked. How many peppers did Peter Piper pick if Peter Piper picked a pick of peppers? Now I am testing without the pop filter from the same distance away. Peter Piper picked a pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a pickled peppers. How many Peter Piper peppers did Peter Piper picked? Testing 1, 2. So now we have a general baseline how it sounds. How does it compare to other microphones? So now I'll be comparing side by side these 3 microphones. This one at $20, this one at $52, discounted currently for, and this one at $120. Here's a sound test. This is a microphone test. This is going to be a test of all 3 microphones. Testing 1, 2. 1, 2, 3 test. This is the Accio gaming microphone. This is the $20 microphone. I'm approximately the same distance away from the Fifine microphone. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. This is the Fifine Ampligame A8. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. This is the $100 microphone. This is the Yeti microphone. USB microphone, sorry. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? We went over all 3 microphones, and these are my thoughts. First, let's address the elephant in the room. The $20 microphone, not it. It sounded very horrible, very peaky, a little bit tinny, and extremely distorted. It was simply very hard to listen to on that playback, and I honestly just decided to throw it away simply because it was not worth those $20. If you're willing to spend $20 on a microphone, or that's your budget, I would allocate saving an additional $10 for a $30 microphone, or just simply purchasing a lavalier mic, though they may have a bit better quality compared to that awful thing we just heard. Another thing with that microphone, with super high volumes, it gets extremely distorted and staticky, and it does not play well with people who have loud voices. So don't purchase that $20 microphone. Next up, we're going to talk about the Blue Yeti. The Blue Yeti came out a little bit hot and very, very sparkly on the trebles and top end. However, it had better clarity compared to the Fifine. Typically with a mic like this, they translate very well with ASMR content, as well as acting as a foliage type microphone. Something I would recommend if you do any type of ASMR or even keyboard typing content. However, there were some downsides to the Blue Yeti. It does not necessarily have a full bass extension compared to the Fifine. The bass was lacking, and it did not provide that full podcasty kind of radio-esque sound I was looking for, especially with the microphone that's strictly dedicated to voice recordings. Now let's talk about the Fifine. This mic is actually a very, very good mic, and I believe to be a great all-around mic compared to the other 2. It had a great bass extension and a lot better bass compared to the Blue Yeti, and unfortunately did not provide a lot of clarity like the Blue Yeti. I did find this to be a lot better in voices like radio, podcasting, and streaming. However, I did have a couple of gripes. Even though this is a condenser USB microphone, it wasn't as sensitive as other condenser microphones. Typically, condenser microphones work great from farther distances and still works just as well when you're closer to the capsule. However, this microphone, it did not perform great from farther distances. Despite all that, it is actually better suited for the streaming / content creation environment because it doesn't necessarily pick up a lot of sounds. I have my PC running and my fan running right now, and it's doing a great job isolating my voice, and I think that's what Fifine was kind of aiming towards. With the Blue Yeti microphone, it was a little bit more sensitive, and plus the gain knob, I only had it at a quarter with the Blue Yeti, and it was picking up every single sound in the room. So despite the mids being a little bit touch too high, I feel just adjusting it using the OBS settings or using a regular like 3-band equalizer. I think this is more than perfect for any type of streamer or content creator looking for a great quality mic for under $50. Well, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Sincerely means a lot, and shout out to Ted for sending me out this mic for review. If it was not for him, this video would not be possible. So thank you guys.